Hey, my name is Jimmy Fung, and in today's video, I want to give you a bird's eye view as to how to make cold outreach, more specifically, cold emails work for your own agency or for your own business. So the reason I'm making this video is because when I was first getting started, there was a lot of people sharing different secrets, different tactics, different strategies, but I was always a little bit confused as to how to make the system work as a whole. So in this video, I wanted to share with you a high-level bird's eye view, looking from the top down to see how the actual system works. So one of the largest things that I think is a lie in the space is people think that if you buy a course, people have a winning script that you would then copy and paste into your own business. And if you just send that exact DM script, send that exact cold email script, you will just rip and print meetings. But that's really a lie, because that's really not how that works. Every single person that I know who is seeing great success with cold outbound, they use a different form of way. They're not just reaching out to someone, saying some generalized, personalized line, asking a quick question, and getting them onto a call right away. Rather, what people are doing is they're reaching out, they're using a permission-based call to action to then send some form of value. Inside that value, you are doing some form of educational content. And the reason that you do that is because you're proving your value, you're proving your authority, you're proving your expertise. And the goal of that educational content is to drive them towards a sales call. So I have a separate video talking explicitly about how to build your own video sales letter that just rips meetings, how to add your own personality to it, how to make it educational, how to break down your process, and how to get people to jump onto a call with you that are already pre-warmed, who are already sold on your offer, understand how it works, and they already trust you. But in this video, I want to break that down at a high level and show you how you can implement that into your own outbound system. So if you like what you hear, if you feel like this is valuable, you learned a lot of stuff, check out my Instagram. I post a lot more business insights there, and drop me a subscribe on YouTube. Drop me a comment down below with any of your questions, on any feedback on how I can improve on what you'd like to see next, that sort of thing. And I also put down below in the description section my link to my calendar link, right? So if you want to get personalized one-on-one support directly from me, direct guidance, then book a time on the calendar and we will chat to see if I can help you build your own agency and get it from $0 to $10,000 a month. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned to the end. I share so much gems that I personally learned in my own journey of sending over 1 million emails. And I'm very certain that you will find this valuable. Thank you. Bye-bye. Awesome. So in this video, I kind of want to use the next few minutes to break down the funnel, right? And in that funnel, I'll be kind of explaining to you what I have personally found out myself after sending over 1 million emails in terms of what works and what doesn't. And because there's so much information out there, you could go on YouTube, find a YouTube channel, talk about cold emails. You could go on Google, find some resources talking about cold emails. And while I wouldn't necessarily say what the other people are teaching are incorrect, I personally found a more effective method towards getting replies and towards getting booked calls using cold emails, right? Again, I've never seen anyone talk about this. I've never seen anyone teach it. And this is something that I didn't even learn from someone else. It was just something that I saw people and what they're talking about in the marketplace. And I kind of went and just sent a ton of emails myself, tweaked a lot of different things throughout the way. And after booking hundreds of sales calls for myself and for my own clients, I kind of figured out a way that just rips, kind of a secret strategy, right? But I don't necessarily want to call it a secret strategy, right? But just to jump right into it then, this is kind of the old way, how everyone teaches cold emails. If you know something about cold emails, this is probably what you're doing. This is what all the resources online, if you go on Google and you search how to send a cold email, this is the exact way that they're teaching it. They kind of tell you to send a cold email and you're asking for a call. So at the end of that cold email, your call to action, whatever it is that you're saying, your call to action is, hey, if you're free for 30 minutes later this week on Thursday or Friday, why don't we set up a quick time to chat? Something like that. So they're going directly for the call and they're hoping that will lead to a booked call, and that booked call will lead towards a closed deal, right? So I actually, while I was putting this together, I actually went inside my own inbox to look for some examples of cold emails that I personally received. And this is kind of what I mean, right? And these aren't even bad emails. They're actually really, really well written, right? And in a moment, I'm going to break down for you what I would do differently, right? So just jumping right at the top, I got this email, quick question, Summit Software. Hey Luna, does Summit Software have an email list with over 1,000 signups? any interest, blah, 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 blah. So this is their offer. And then in their CTA, it's any interest in putting a quick 15 minutes on the calendar to chat in more detail, right? And by the way, my name is not Luna. So this guy just kind of messed up in terms of the email. I don't know where he got my data from, but my name is definitely not Luna, right? So as you can see, he is pitching for a quick 15-minute call on the calendar to chat in more detail. And this email is actually pretty good, right? It follows a lot of the guidelines that I have personally recognized towards what makes successful emails. He starts off with a very good probing question. He talks about his offer in a very direct and clear way with very little fluff. And his email is relatively short. I think I could read this in maybe sub 20 seconds. So it's actually relatively good. It's not bad. The second email that I have, so this one actually has my name in it, Jimmy. So this is pretty good. Hi, Jimmy. Are you looking for an easy and effective way to generate more leads for your business? If so, look no further than anybiz.io. My name is Daniel, blah, 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 blah. And then his call to action is, if it makes sense to talk, let me know how your calendar looks. If not, who is the appropriate person? Question mark. So once again, his call to action is he's asking for a call. There's a couple of different things that I would do differently from this email. I think the very first thing is I wouldn't necessarily put a link similar to him. I think he's selling a lead generation software, so not necessarily a lead generation service, but he has some form of software that helps people to get more leads. I wouldn't necessarily put a link there. I understood why he does it. It's because he wants me to click on that link, but it actually messes with your email deliverability, and this is the initial email, so I wouldn't necessarily send that. I also wouldn't necessarily say, my name is Daniel, my name is Jimmy, I'm the blah, 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 because people don't necessarily care. They only care about them. In this case, I'm the reader. I'm the guy who received this email. I only care about myself. I don't really care who this guy is, and he's the founder of this company and that. But I think the biggest problem that he has is his call to action. If it makes sense, let me know how your calendar looks. If not, who's the appropriate person? This is more of a soft CTA, so he's kind of pitching for a call. He's kind of not. But these two examples are literally the definition of what people talk about, what people teach in terms of cold emails. And there's no reason, and it's so clear why most people are struggling with cold emails, because if you use this exact format, you might get replies, you might get a couple booked calls here and there, but you're not truly maximizing the efficiency of cold emails and reaching out to a cold audience. Because the biggest problem that people don't realize is, for myself, I don't know who any of these two people are. I literally just opened my Gmail and I saw these emails. So I don't even know who these people are. So what makes them think that I will just sacrifice 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour of my time to chat with them about this? Now, obviously, if the service is compelling enough, both of these emails have pretty clear, direct offers. Even if I did have a problem, I might potentially bite, but more likely than not, I wouldn't necessarily want to devote 30 minutes of my time to get sold to, basically, right? So that's kind of the problem with these two emails. And this is literally how people are taught. And there's a couple of key issues with this current way of doing so, right? This is literally what 99% of cold emailers do. They're asking for the lead's time right away. So right off the bat, do you have 30 minutes? Do you have 20 minutes? Do you have 40 minutes? Whatever that is. And what this will lead to is, if you use a similar email, I guarantee you will have low reply rates. Your reply rates will be below 7 to 8%, or be below 10%, 100%. Realistically, you'll be below 5%, but I don't know anything about the offer and who they're reaching out to specifically, so that might be different. But more likely than not, if you're using this exact framework, your reply rates will be below 5% and guaranteed to be below 10%, which is, by the way, really bad, because at my own agency, the cold emails we're sending ourselves, we're getting between 10 and 20% reply rates, right? But that's a story for a separate time. What will also happen is these emails that you're sending, they'll get a lot of people replying back in a very negative way. They'll say unsubscribe, or they'll tell you to fuck off, right? Or they'll tell you to stop spamming me. So you get a ton of those replies. And what will happen is, even in the scenario that you are able to get these people onto a sales call, your closing rate will definitely be lower than 15%, which, by the way, is, again, pretty bad. And the reason why it's going to be 15% or lower is because, number one, these people, again, they don't know who you are. So inherently, the second they jump onto a call, they'll have their guard up. They'll have their sales guard up. They don't trust you because they don't know who you are. These prospects, they don't know what you do or what your offer is. So let's say, even back to that example of this one, right? He's selling a lead generation software. Even if I did book a call with him, I'll be jumping on, and the first thing out of my mouth is, how does this work? What does this look like? What are some of the features? What are some of the benefits? What is my expected end result? So I don't know anything about his offer other than the fact that it's a lead generation software, which really doesn't tell me much. And the biggest issue of all is the people who jump onto the call, they don't know who you are. So I've been saying this for this entire video, but that's the largest problem, is these people don't know who you are. And as a result, for all they care, you could be a scammer, right? You could be someone who just started your business, you're trying to run up your cash really quickly, and you disappear the second I pay them money, right? And this is the largest issue with this current framework of cold emails. And this is the old way of doing this. This is how 99% of people are doing this, and this is why they're struggling with cold emails. Now, there is a new way of approaching this, a completely new way of doing cold emails, and this is what that looks like. This is the new way, and this is the way that I personally do it myself. Again, I've never seen anyone talk about this on the internet, but basically, we want to break down cold emails and look at it at a bird's eye view, right? And when we do that, what we notice is cold emails is actually a form of a funnel. Now, if you're running ads or you're learning how to run ads, people talk about running an ad, leading it to some form of training, those video trainings that you probably see all over your Instagram, all over your YouTube, and then getting those people to jump on a call, right? And that framework does work relatively efficiently because you're running ads. That's more of an inbound lead. Cold emails is more outbound. But what if we used a similar structure, a similar process for our actual cold emails, right? And this is kind of how I figured it out. Is I started looking at all these people I was getting ads for, selling courses, selling programs, whatever it is they're selling, and they're all linking those interests from the ad. The call to action is check out this free training, and obviously they're gonna ask for your email, your phone number, stuff like that. But the core premise is they're redirecting your attention over to some form of sales asset and using that sales asset to do the heavy lifting to get you to, once you book a call, you know, like, and trust that person that you're kind of chatting with, right? So this entire process works the same if you're doing cold emails, cold DMs, or paid ads. Obviously, for the purposes of what we're doing, we're focusing on the cold email side of thing. But it's really not that different, right? Because at the top of the funnel, this is the attention. It doesn't really matter how you get the attention, whether you're sending DMs on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whether you're running an inbound ad, or whether you're doing cold emails. The purpose of that is just to get more attention, get more eyeballs on your business, on your offer, on your service, on your product, and that's really what it is. But all three of these things, you could swap out each of these channels because they're just an individual channel, but the end goal is to get you attention, which is why it's called top of funnel. Where the magic is, where the difference is with this method versus the traditional way of sending cold emails is what's called the middle of funnel. This is where you nurture those prospects. Anyone can send out DMs. Anyone can send out emails. Anyone could run an ad. If you spend enough money, that ad will get attention, right? Anyone can do those things. But where 99% of people struggle is the nurturing. How do you take someone who finds out about who you are, who's a little bit interested in what you have to sell, and turn that into a quantifiable booked call, and in return, money in your bank account, right? Money in your Stripe, money in your PayPal, your Wise, whatever payment processor you're using, right? And the largest issue people have is with nurturing. So what we're doing with this new method is once we get that attention, whether from cold emails, cold DMs, or paid ads, we are redirecting them to a form of lead magnet. Now, there's different forms of lead magnets. You can send a PDF, you can send a Google Docs, you can send even a case study, right? But the way that I found personally to be most effective, and by the way, I've done all of those things, is by leveraging a VSL, a video sales letter, right? So that's why this is highlighted in yellow. That's what that looks like. If we look at, here, I actually linked an example. You can find this on my YouTube channel as well. This was my very first video sales letter. It was pretty bad, I didn't really have any editing. I was literally using my laptop webcam, my laptop mic to do this, and it took me maybe an hour to put this together. But this thing absolutely cooked. And right after it started cooking, I got a ton of replies, a ton of booked calls. This was the moment I realized that this stuff works. And ever since I started implementing this, I never looked back, really, right? And again, I've tested PDFs, docs, and case studies, but time after time, a video sales letter just works 100 times better than any other form of lead magnet, right? And the reason this works is because inside this VSL, inside this video sales letter, what we're doing is we're telling them your results-based offer and asking for permission to show them. So even in the cold email, our call to action that we're using a permission-based call to action. We're asking for permission to send them more information. And once they say yes, so they're showing some form of intent, we then lead them over to a video sales letter, right? So we're not pushing anything to anyone who doesn't want it. We're asking for permission first. Once they want to see it, We then send them this video sales letter. So that by itself already has a little bit higher interest. Those people are not necessarily as cold and they're a little bit warm because they've shown buying intent to some degree. Inside the video, what your goal is you're delivering as much value as you humanly can in a 20 to 30 minute educational style video, right? You're driving attention, the eyeballs, to your video sales letter. That's pretty much what you're doing. And inside that video, you are creating an educational styled sales video. So obviously your goal is to get them onto a book call, get them to reply back to your email. But what you're also doing is leading with value. You're educating them. So after that 20-minute video, your goal is to have that prospect, the person who's watching that video, to walk away and learn a new insight, learning something new that they personally have not really thought about or they did not personally know. And by doing so, if you do this process correctly, what will happen is, number one, you're showing authority and expertise with your offer, because if you're teaching them something new, you obviously know something about this that they don't know. If you're selling lead generation as a service, you're selling cold emails, and they watch this video sales letter, you're talking about something about cold emails that that person did not necessarily know, and you will come away with them thinking that you're the authority and you're an expert at cold emails, at lead generation. What you're also doing in this video sales letter is you're showing personality. Because what happens is, the largest mistake that the online business world has people confused is people don't realize that at the end of the day, people buy from other people. I'm not trying to buy from a robot. I'm trying to buy from someone else. Why are certain internet personalities so big? People like Iman Gadzhi, right? People like Luke Belmar. What makes that person someone who's able to make a lot of money is, on top of the fact that they're able to generate a lot of attention, is they showcase a lot of personality. You could literally copy what Iman Gadzhi talks about. You could copy what Luke Belmar talks about. You could talk about what I talk about. But the reason why you will not make as much money as any of those people is because those people add their personality. There's an aspect to it where you just simply cannot copy their integrity, their values, their personality, how they come across, their vibes, stuff like that. It's really hard to copy. You could copy my cold emails, you could copy some other guy cold email, but you can't copy his personality or their personality for that matter, right? And by doing so, it allows an aspect of personality to come through. And again, people buy from other people. If you do this process correctly, you're also building trust with your audience, because most people, they're just unwilling to put themselves on a video just like this, showcase their face, stuff like that. Most people, 99% of people, they don't want to do it. And if you want to win in online business, if you want to make money, you have to be willing to do what 99% of people are unwilling to do, because it will automatically give you a legs up. So again, your call to action at the end of the VSL is a call. Right? So rather than asking for a call right off the bat as a cold email, after that 20 to 30 minute video where someone has watched through the whole thing, they've learned an insight or two, they see the value in what you're doing, your call to action is then to redirect them to a call. And the reason this works is, if we compare it to the original funnel, the old way that people teach it, is by the time people jump onto a call, they already, number one, know who you are. They watch a 20 to 30 minute video. They have a better idea. At least they know what you look like, right? The second thing is, they have a high level idea of what your offer is. So they're not jumping in the call with a bunch of these questions, because if you do the VSL correctly, a lot of those questions are already answered. The questions specifically about the process of how you get the result is answered in that video. So they already understand what that is. And really the only purpose of that call is to, number one, for you to realize, for you to determine, are they qualified for your service? Because not everyone who pays you money you want to work with, right? That's something that you will learn inside the online business space, is just because someone's throwing money at you, you don't necessarily want to work with them for a variety of reasons. That's a whole separate video. But that's kind of what the goal of the VSL is. So we're redirecting the attention that we're using to get by cold emails. We're redirecting that attention that we gather onto our video sales letter. And then obviously they will reply back positively, right? If your video, you do it correctly, you're actually providing value, people will reply back positively because of the principle that you are giving something before you're taking. You're not asking for someone's time. You're asking for permission to give them something of value. You're asking for permission to educate them. And if you do this process correctly, people will book a call. And one of the most important parts that people are also missing, that I haven't really seen people talk about in terms of cold emails or lead generation as matter, is what happens after they book a call. You don't want to just jump onto that call. You want to redirect them to another video sales letter, right? So after they book a call on your Calendly, if you're using Go High Level, you want to redirect them to a second VSL where that is more of a pre-selling, nurturing VSL. These people are interested, they want to talk with you, but you need to give them a little bit of extra push, if that makes sense, right? So inside that nurturing VSL, what you're doing now is, number one, you're showing proof that the system works, and you're doing more in terms of educating prospects on your offer. How specifically will what you're selling help them to get to their desired end result? And by doing this, if you do it correctly, what you're now doing is you're warming up your prospects. You're, again, putting yourself out there, putting your face out there. At least they understand and know who you are. You're showing more credibility, you're building more trust. And what you're doing is, inside this video sales letter, is you're able to establish the agenda for the call. Because what will happen is, if you do this process correctly in an educational way, is most people, when they jump on a call, they already understand how, by buying cold emails, by buying your lead generation services, how it will help them towards get their goals of achieving more customers, getting more paid clients, that type of thing. And that's the purpose of this VSL. So after that, obviously you have the sales call, and on that sales call, your closing rate will be a lot higher because people already trust you, they believe in the process, and obviously there's still an aspect where you have to sell them, but generally speaking, it is a lot lower resistance. It's a lot easier to sell to these people, and you might even find people where the second you jump on the call, they will tell you that they're ready to buy, right? That's personally the experience that I have. In the very beginning, before I started implementing and dialing in the system, I would have 30 to 40 minute sales calls. Now, almost all my sales calls are one call closes, and some of them, the quickest sales call I've ever had was around 10 minutes, right? And at the end of that 10 minutes, the person paid me $4,000, right? And this is literally the reason why I was able to do so, is because I did all the work before the actual call. Before I even spoke with that person, they were already pre-sold. And the largest aspect of that was by leveraging different forms of content and video sales letters. You'd obviously post this on YouTube. You could put this on your landing page. I host all my stuff on YouTube. You could go take a look. But that's the entire idea, right? So this is kind of the new way. And once I understood this, I was able to skyrocket my reply rates. I was able to skyrocket my amount of booked meetings. I was able to skyrocket the amount of cash that I actually collected inside of my business. And to give you more proof that what I'm talking about works, obviously in this example, this video sales letter that you could go take a look at, I posted this, I think, November 2022, so a little bit over a year ago. And using this VSL, I literally ran with this VSL for months, until I think around February or March, which at that point I went back and I learned a lot more about building VSLs, stuff like that, and how to pre-sell people. And I actually made a second one, which is better, by the way, right? So obviously if you watch this video, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you copying it to a T, because there's just so much more stuff that I learned that I was able to improve on. But even that really bad original version of that VSL, right? If I look at my calendar, I literally had this for several months, and all of these, these aqua things on my Google Calendar, these are booked meetings. These are people on my calendar who wanted to chat, right? So this was at the end of January. We see in February, I got a lot of meetings. February, right? And I just got a ton of these meetings, right? And I don't even know how many sales calls I was able to book, but I was able to book a ton of these booked meetings, and I was able to do that in a bunch of different industries as well. And to give you even more context, here's my Smart Lead account, right? This is a campaign I sent in September. I'm working with recruitment agencies for my own lead generation agency right now. And by the way, I actually closed off my calendar because I'm happy with the clients I have. I have a few clients that I'm working with that are paying me a lot of money, and I don't necessarily need to be working with 20 clients anymore, right? I did that at one point, and I don't necessarily enjoy doing that. But this is a campaign I sent out. I last sent it out in September. We see in terms of stats that I reached out to around 5,000 new contacts, and I got almost 1,000 reply rates. So just right off the bat, so this number isn't completely accurate, but I do believe this is a little bit over 20% reply rates, just to show you that I actually do get a lot of reply rates, 20% reply rates. And obviously I got good open rates. And from these reply rates, these were the 67 people who were really interested in learning more about what I was doing. The conversion rate was a lot. Obviously, Smart Lead does not necessarily track the amount of people who book calls, but I think I probably booked between 30 and 40 sales calls just from these people alone, right? And because the video sales letter did so much of the heavy lifting, and of those 30 to 40 sales calls, I closed a couple people, right? So that's kind of how that works. And I wanted to film this aspect as well, just to show you proof to show you what I'm talking about, the new way of doing things actually works. And I just don't see a scenario where by using the old funnel of just asking for a call right away, you're definitely not anywhere near this, anywhere near getting 20% reply rates, and you'd be nowhere near booking 30 to 40 sales calls off of 4,000 leads, right? And even if you were to get 30 to 40 sales calls, in the highly unlikely scenario you were, there's no way that you'd be closing a bunch of those clients, because those people just don't even trust you to start with, right? So in this video, I wanted to show you that. Take this and apply that inside of your own business. This is how the cold email funnel that I'm currently running works. Here's the proof to show you that it does work, but hope you enjoyed this video.